concussion coming off that thing standing right here.
Doomsday Brothers here, Josh and Jeremy. We're both a little sick. Well, at least I'm still feeling pretty sick, but we're gonna get over it. We're gonna push through it, give you a cool little review on a nice pocket pistol, the Ruger LC9. And let me pull it out here so you can get a little contrast. This one has the laser max on it, as you can see right there. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get into this. First thing I noticed about this pistol, especially when I pick it up, are just the dimensions. Really nice dimensions. It's very small for a 9mm. I'm sure for a woman's hand or someone with small hands, it'd be really nice. For me, my hands are pretty big. It feels a little small in my hand, but if you're going for concealed carry, you know, that's not the most important factor.
Oh yeah, I like the dimensions a lot. One thing it does kind of fool you with is if you look at this, the grip here is actually quite a bit more narrow than a lot of parts of the slide. So it almost gives you a false sense of even more slimness. Not to say it's not, you know, super slim. As you can see, it's extremely slim.
Which is so that was one thing I did coming up on your back or whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not super crazy about the grip, but I'm not on any really tiny pocket pistol just because, you know, it's not made for a full-size man's hand.
Yeah. Well, just to give you a comparison, here's the Glock 27. Yeah, this one's in 40, but it's got the exact dimensions of the 26.
Yeah.
So as you can see, you know, if this is the 26, the slide difference, I mean, it's enough. I think it's 0.9 inches wide with the LC9. The Glock is like 1.18. So I mean, there's a little bit of a difference there. And then along with that, the grip is also a lot more thick with the Glock. Which I like for my hand, but if you're going for just the conceal factor, it is nice to have that slimness.
And you know, a lot of people might say, you know, 1.18 versus 0.9. That doesn't seem like that much of a difference. But you know, when it's on your waist, inside your waistband, something like that, that's a huge difference. Like tiny, you know, point something of an inches makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal.
And you can feel it when, and you know, if you ever go into a store and you handle both these guns. I mean, you pick this one up, then you take it out. Pick up the Glock. I mean, there's a definite difference there. This one feels a lot better in my hand personally, but you know, a lot of people will feel that way as well, especially with the extended finger. And
I like the extended finger on there. It, you know, helps me to get a good grip, and this one actually works well on the Ruger. And besides the width, it's a little bit shorter, just a hair shorter. Height-wise, it's pretty much the same. I mean, yeah, they're pretty close to the same if you go with height. So, I mean, great dimensions. The slimness is definitely the biggest advantage if that's what you're looking for in a pocket pistol. So moving on, quality. It's definitely a well-made gun. When you put it in your hand, you know, it just feels solid. Everything's there. Tolerances, they're pretty tight.
okay, sorry about that. We had an idiot dog barking, and our camera person had to leave, so I'm going to take over camera. We're going to finish up this review here so we actually get it done.
Alright, so let's see, we were talking about the dimensions. That's pretty much it for it, you know. Nice and slim, very small for a 9mm, great for concealed carry. It's also, you know, very streamlined as far as, you know, your safety here, your slide stop. Nothing sticks out, nothing protrudes too bad. Even the magazine release right here, it's real nice.
Well, and even with all this stuff being so streamlined, it's all really easy to actuate. So, I mean, the thing that sticks out furthest is that safety. But what's nice is coming off, it's not that difficult, you know. On's a little bit more stiff, but off is not bad at all.
Yeah, so yeah, everything still works well, but it's not going to get hung up on anything in your pocket or whatnot. So that's a definite positive. Moving on, reliability. This gun hasn't been out forever, but as far as I know and in my experience, it's been great.
Yeah.
Everything I read about it with other people's experiences, they've had virtually no problems with it whatsoever. It seems to fire every time. Seems to be something you could bet your life on. Yeah. It may not have the history of a Glock, something like that yet, but you know, in the near future maybe it will, because it certainly appears that way.
Yeah.
So reliability, I'd definitely bet my life on it. I'd be willing to carry that every day, and not feel worried that it's not going to go off in a situation where I might need it.
And these sights actually aren't too bad. You know, a lot of small guns really have crappy sights, but I guess we'll get into that later here down the talking points. But
yeah, it's also built by Ruger. You know, you have Ruger backing you. I've heard decent things about their customer service. I haven't really dealt with them much personally because I haven't had any problems with any of my Ruger firearms. That being said, if you have a problem, I'm sure they'll be able to help you out, and it's just nice to know you have a long established company that's going to be backing you if you have any issues.
Cool.
Moving on from that, a little bit about the sights. I do really like that it has windage adjustable sights.
Yeah.
The rear at least.
Yeah.
It's real easy just to get in there and move it either way if you need. It doesn't have any change in elevation, but you probably won't need that. But that's just a nice little feature in case you need to adjust it for your eyes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, the slide stop. This one kind of goes both ways for me, and I'll get a little bit more into it in the negative side of it. I just like that it has one. Some of these pocket pistols don't have a slide stop. You see it a little bit more in the 380s, but you know, this one's small enough that I could have seen them neglecting that. I like it when the slide holds back on the last round.
Mm-hmm.
I just like knowing that you're out of ammunition, no question about it, and it's time to reload if you're in a situation where that's going to be an important thing to do quickly. So I like that it has that. Also, the mag capacity, it's a 7+1, which, as far as I'm aware, that pretty much beats any other pistols in this pocket pistol category. Most of them in the 9mm seem to be 6+1. You know, extra round. I'm not gonna complain about that. You never know when that could be important, when that could save your life. I will say, with my pistol, originally for some reason this magazine would not load a 7th round for the life of me. I pushed like crazy.
You're denting rounds before you could get a 7th in there.
Oh yeah, it was tight. I even switched the base plate on here, and it still wasn't doing it. Finally, I just took the whole thing out, pulled the follower out, stretched the string out a little bit, just to see if something was hanging up weird. Put it back in. Now it's doing it fine. So it's holding 7, and I don't know. It's probably just something wrong with my mag and something weird internally, but it's working fine now, and obviously that was just an issue with my specific magazine. Moving on, the safety. We've gone on rants about safeties enough in some of our videos. You probably don't need to hear all about it again.
Yeah.
Some people like them. You probably know from our past videos if you've seen them. We're not the biggest fans of having a safety on a concealed carry weapon.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, so that one gets an asterisk because it's on the pluses right now, but it's also. Oh, did you put on negatives?
It should be on the negatives as well.
So that's what asterisk is there for. That one's a lot of that can be personal preference. So we'll put asterisks.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later. This gun is full of safety features, which, again, I'm not the biggest fan of.
There are plenty of them already on this gun, and it doesn't have a manual safety. So.
Yep. So moving on, loaded chamber indicator. That's actually another one of the safety features. I couldn't find my 9mm snap caps, otherwise I'd put one in here. I'm not going to put a live round in there, but it's a really positive loaded chamber indicator. It comes up and it's got these glaring red marks on each side, and it's easy to see even from the back if it's up.
Mm-hmm. And if it was dark, you could put your finger up there and you could easily tell if that's, you know, got one in the chamber or not.
Feel it easily, but if it's been a while since you've used your gun, if it's been away in a safe or something, or you're just not sure what you did the last time you manipulated it, you can easily tell if you have a round in there and be extra careful. That one doesn't bother me because it doesn't really hurt functionality at all. It doesn't really change anything about the gun.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I could see it ever affecting is maybe if you had a holster that for some reason it snagged on. But I really doubt that because it comes up in the front, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna be drawing it back towards you anyway. So I don't see that being a problem. Maybe reholstering it could get caught a little bit, but I don't see it being an issue when you're drawing your pistol when you actually need it right away.
Yeah, it's a consideration though. I mean, an overabundance of safety features on a pistol like this, it's kind of unnecessary to me, and we'll get into that more on the negative side, but I don't mind that feature on this one.
Yeah.
The trigger, again, this is another two-sided debate. These pocket pistols, you know, they're notorious for having super heavy and super long triggers, and I'm not a fan of that at all for shooting. I understand why they're there. You know, it's nice if you're going to be have it concealed in your pants or something, and you're not going to have a safety on. Naturally, this one has a safety on it. I don't really see why they needed both of those features.
Yeah. One thing that really does bother me about these triggers, so it's been safe to check. If you want to go ahead and fire it and show them how. Okay, so let's say you fire right now, and then all you want to do is let it go back to the reset and pull.
We'll get into this later. That's another safety feature that I hate.
Okay, you want to get into the negatives?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
No, I was talking about the magazine. You can't pull the trigger when the magazine's out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Anyway, so here's the trigger.
So you pull it, boom, trigger breaks. Now let's say, okay, so go ahead and rack the slide. Now let's say that you want to take, all you want to do is let it out until it resets. So first off, it takes a while to reset. There you go. So it's reset. You can't pull that trigger now.
That's not the actual reset.
It's literally impossible.
We should be doing this in the negatives, but
yeah. There you go. Now you can pull it.
Yeah, you have to go almost all the way out.
So,
but as far as the positive side of this trigger, I will say it's smooth.
It is smooth for having such, you know,
it's
a
not
long.
gritty. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
But again, you know, it's heavy. It's not as heavy as the SIGs was.
No.
This one.
This one's like a 6.3.
6.3. That SIG.
Was it 9?
290 was 9. Yeah. So it was a really heavy trigger. So I greatly prefer this trigger over the SIG. And finally, another thing I like, you know, there's all sorts of features and accessories for these guns. One being the lasers that you can put on it. They've got Crimson Trace and the Laser Max that I'm aware of. This is the Laser Max that's on it right here.
Laser Max is gonna be a little more cost, you know, efficient, I guess is what it'd be. But those Crimson Trace ones are really nice.
Yeah, and as long as you have decent sized hands, your fingers reach right to them, no problem. You can activate it on either side by pushing it in, and you know, works great.
Yeah.
And it's easy to adjust for windage and elevation.
Yeah.
With the little Allen key.
Yeah. I actually really like how this particular laser works, just because with the size of my hand when I'm holding it here, you can see my finger rests right on it, so I can just like actuate it without adjusting my grip at all, which is kind of nice. You know, I do like that.
Yeah, if you have smaller hands, that may be an issue. And the other thing is, I mean, because it actuates so easily when you press it, it's possible that in the holster it could get bumped and turned on. I've heard about that happening, people running through batteries. That could be annoying.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get what you get. And it works well, so if you don't mind buying a few extra batteries if that does happen, then that's not really an issue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, lots of great features, great feel of the gun, very high quality. You know, it looks nice, shoots well for a pocket pistol.
All right. Let's do the stuff that sucks.
On to the negatives.
Which overall, this is a positive review. We do like this gun.
Yes, I do. This is one of my favorite pocket pistols, actually. Okay, first negative, field strip. I greatly prefer a gun that you can field strip without any tools.
Yeah.
It just, I know it's not the biggest deal. You're usually not going to have to worry about anything like that in a situation where the pressure's on. But it's just a pain to have to make sure you have your little keys with you every time you want to break your gun down.
Yeah.
And I imagine some people may be able to do it without it, but I mean, this is a pain to get down. This is your assembly button right here. If you want to take it down, you gotta push it down, and doing it with your hands, it's virtually impossible. And so they've got these little keys here. You have to stick it into the hole and get kind of some leverage behind it there, and it actually comes down pretty easy once you put it in there. And that takedown button pops down. But you still need the key, because to break it down, you're gonna have to push out this little pin from this side with the slide partially back. And so I found the easiest way to do it is to try to get it to the spot right there where you need it and hold your key on it beforehand. So I'm going to put the key in there, so I know it's in there already, and then I can come back, because otherwise it's a pain going back and forth to find that spot just right. So as you can see, it's out there. It comes out pretty easy, at least on mine. And then you can pull your key out, and then from then on, take your magazine out, and you know, it's simple from there, just like any other polymer pistol pretty much. You have non-captive springs, not a big issue because they go in real easy, and your barrel slides right out for easy.
It's kind of an interesting shape they have on the barrel too.
Yeah, it's flared a little bit at the end.
It's not. I mean, it's definitely not like the P290, but it's kind of interesting. It kind of dips in and flares. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just the initial, you know, pulling of that pin and putting the takedown lever. It's a pain when you want to take this gun down.
Yep.
But it's not too bad. And then for reassembly, it's a little bit easier. Pull it back to that spot. Find your hole.
That is a really. I don't like when things come apart a lot either when you're taking apart a gun. Like that little stupid pin would be easy enough to lose, especially if you're out so you're out in your garage and that's where your workspace is, where you work on your guns and clean them and stuff like that. And this thing falls off and gets on the ground, or like falls into a box of screws or something. That would suck.
It would. It'd be easy to lose, and if you lose your keys, you know, you can use something else that's small that will fit in there, but these have another purpose, which we'll talk about later, so you want to hold on to these. Well, maybe you don't. We'll get into that. And then again, for your takedown lever, again, it's a pain. You can't, I mean, that thing is super tight. There's like no way you're getting that up with your fingers, and so take your little key and you can press it back up into place.
There we go.
And that's it for the takedown. Kind of a pain. It's not super hard with your tool, but I prefer not to have a tool.
Yeah.
Moving on, ergonomics. For me, for my hand specifically, it's not the most comfortable gun to shoot. Mostly because of how thin it is.
And this is going to be a negative pretty much for any pocket pistol, you know, quote-unquote pocket pistol, when they're talking these really small 9s or these 380s, you know, things like that. They're, oh crap, sorry. They're just really not fun to go out and just shoot. They're not range guns, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to go out and be familiar with your gun and be competent when you're shooting it, so you need to spend some time with it, but you're not going to really enjoy it.
The ergonomics, not super comfortable. The hand sting issue. After about 15 or so consecutive rounds, I was starting to feel it in my hand. It was hurting a little bit, and then around my finger, it's probably getting knocked around in the trigger guard or something. I'm not exactly sure what was causing it, but I was feeling some sting on my finger as well, and I had gloves on.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it's just me being a little princess. I don't know.
But, I think it is, because I got to tell you, I didn't have that same experience.
He didn't have it, and a lot of you may not. But I did shoot more rounds though, and it wasn't until later rounds that it started hurting more.
Yeah.
So you know, after you shoot quite a few consecutively, it's not going to be super comfortable. So.
But not really its main purpose, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just using it for its purpose, concealed carry, you've only got 7+1. I mean, who cares if your hand stings a little bit when you're defending your life? You know, you're not even going to notice that.
Yeah.
Okay, the safety again, we talked about it. Positive and a negative. We've told you why we don't like it. And
make up your mind on how you feel about it. We've given you our opinion on it. You know.
So that's purely opinion based. If you like it, you like it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with liking the safety if that's your thing. You know, we've told you why we don't.
Just make sure you're ready. Make sure when you're drawing that gun, it's coming off at the same time, and it's second nature where you're not thinking about it ever. Because the last thing you want is to pull this, and then you're pulling your trigger like, what the heck's wrong with my gun? You rack the slide, something stupid like that, you know. So yeah,
it's about your training. Yeah,
just be
thousands
competent.
of times, just repetition.
Yep.
And I mean, it could be noted as well that it is only on the left side of the gun. So if you're a lefty shooter, maybe an issue deactivating that safety. And
there's something wrong with you anyway if you're a lefty. So.
Oh, here it goes. I shoot right-handed.
Yeah, he's stupid. He's left-handed. But
I'm all confused, man.
He's okay when he shoots.
Yeah. Right-footed, left-handed, some of the time.
And he's ugly.
All right, moving on.
Focus. There we go.
Okay, there are a bunch of other safety features that I'm not necessarily a fan of with this gun. The first one, and my least favorite one, is the magazine disconnect.
Yeah.
If you have no magazine in the gun, there is no way you can pull that trigger. You're going to break your trigger before you can get that thing to pull. I am not a fan of that. If you are in a situation, get a little anxious when you're pulling your gun out or something, accidentally pop that magazine out, or get it partially pushed out when you're shooting or whatnot, your trigger's no longer going to work. Oh, well, actually, maybe it will. Okay. Guess it has to
point
be
disproved.
That far. So maybe that won't be a big issue, but I just don't like the fact that if you drop your magazine for whatever reason, if you're shooting and it comes out, you still have a round, you're not going to be able to use that.
Or if you're being conscious of, you know, how many rounds you have and whatever you're counting or something, and you drop it when you know you have one left, and you drop it so you can get to your next mag, you don't have to, you know, rack the slide and stuff like that. If somebody advances on you when you're in the middle of your, you know, magazine change, you're not going to be able to use that one round to your advantage. It's gone.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't love it. I'm sure there's some kind of a purpose that the lawyers and bureaucrats thought of. After that, there's an internal lock on this thing. That's just dumb to me. That's what this key's for. You take your little key, put it on safety, I believe. I've never even done it because I don't think there's any reason you would ever want to do this or need to do it. Stick it in there and you turn it like a quarter turn to the right, I believe, to turn it on. And then it basically disconnects your trigger, so your gun is not going to work, whether it's got live ammunition in it or not. And for me, that's just pointless. If you're putting your gun away somewhere where you don't want a kid to grab it, or you're worried about someone accidentally discharging it, it should be in a safe or put away somewhere where no one's going to be getting it. Otherwise, it's going to be on your person or in a location where only someone who would need to get to it quickly and use it would be using it. Yeah. Just a ridiculous feature, and just giving something for the gun to go wrong internally. I mean, what if something slips in there? What if something happens and it gets turned on and you can't use it when you need to? I don't like that feature at all.
Yeah, I mean, I got 2 small kids, and I think that's just kind of an idiotic thing, you know. You put the gun away where it's safe. You know, you put it in a safe, or you put it, you know, where you know the gun's inaccessible with your children. You don't turn the stupid key. Like, what if you didn't turn it all the way and you thought it was on safe or something stupid like that, and then your kid comes and grabs it? Just put it in a safe, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd be okay with them getting rid of the magazine disconnect, get rid of the internal lock, get rid of the safety. I mean, honestly, a long trigger pull is all you really need. Even the loaded chamber indicator, you don't really need it. It's just a lot of safety features. It seems like a whole committee got together. Kind of ridiculous. Yeah. But they're covering their backs. Whatever. Yeah. Next one. Ruger says you're not supposed to shoot +P+ ammunition through this. I guess you can have some excessively high powder contents in some of those, and you know, it can cause some damage to your weapon. They do recommend not shooting +P too frequently either, just because it wears on the gun more than your regular ammunition would. But it's okay to use.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan of, you know, +P or +P+ in a 9mm, just to give it that little bit more power to try to equalize it out with some of the bigger calibers.
And honestly, if you're using it just for self-defense, if you're not going to the range and shooting that stuff, I doubt that putting 7 rounds through it would ever hurt your gun.
Yeah. But I mean, you do need to put, you know, a couple boxes through of, you know, whatever it is you're shooting. You know, if it is +P, you do need to shoot some of that through your gun to make sure it's going to cycle it.
Make sure it's reliable.
I don't know. I am not crazy about that though, because, you know, what if you put a couple boxes through it and that's all your gun can take, and then all of a sudden it's not going to cycle when you need it to.
Yeah. I mean, they tell you not to do it, so you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah. But that's probably them trying to get away from having warranty issues with their gun too.
Yeah. So just something to be aware of. Another negative, locking the slide back. I like that it has a slide stop. That's great that it will lock the slide back at all, but it's a pain. I mean, if you just casually bring it back, it's not going to hold. I mean, you've got to yank it all the way back until it hits the rear, and then it will lock. And it's not a huge issue. It's not hard for us to do, you know. It's not. I mean, right there, I went all the way back, but I didn't hit it hard enough. It's not a huge issue if you've got the hand strength. If this is for your wife or someone who maybe has any kind of nerve damage or problems with their hands or whatnot, or arthritis, anything that causes pain, that could be an issue because it's heavy and hard. The spring's pretty strong. It's not super easy to pull back, and you really got to put some oomph into it. So something to consider. Not a big deal. Doesn't really matter that much, but something to consider.
Yep.
The trigger. negative aspects of the trigger. So you were talking about this a little bit. The reset's kind of wonky on it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll show you how it breaks here. It's not bad, it's nice and smooth, but it's fairly heavy. The brake, it's pretty clean, pretty consistent, but check out the reset on here. So you're coming back.
So, and it feels like this first one's a reset, but it's not a full reset. You can't pull it here.
There's a click. You can probably hear it, but that's not a true reset. I don't like when a gun fakes you out or it's counterintuitive in any way. I mean, most people would think, okay, my trigger's reset, I'm ready to pull again, and all of a sudden your gun's not firing. You've got to keep on going out. Right there it clicks.
Yeah. And we'll put some video in. The way I discovered that was I was actually shooting it. I was just going for the reset, and I tried to pull it, and what the heck's going on with this gun? But yeah, it's just how the trigger is. It's annoying and it's stupid.
Long trigger pull.
Yep.
What happened on that last one?
I was trying to just wait till the reset and then pull again. I had to go all the way out.
Yeah, you can't do the first click. Yeah,
that's kind of annoying.
It gets the job done, and if you train with it, you can get proficient and accurate with it, and it won't be a real issue. But something to consider is kind of got that false click when for the reset.
Yep. So that's pretty much everything, right?
That's pretty much the gist of it.
If I was giving it a score out of 10, I'd probably say like 7.5. And that's just because biggest thing for me is that whole ammunition issue here. No plus P plus ammunition. It just makes me it leaves that thought in the back of my mind, like, what if this is the time that my gun's going to stop working with my plus P ammo, you know, or whatever. Like, you know, when you stick ammo in a Glock, it's going to shoot it, and that's what I like my gun to be able to do. And then there are some of the ergonomic things I don't like, but overall, I'd say I like the gun. Would it be the gun out of all the different options that there are to choose that I would go with? Probably not, but you know, it's a good price point, really good price point. And overall, I'd say positive. I like the sights on it. I like the size of it.
Yeah. If I was going to score this guy, I'd probably give it an 8.5. Ruger did a great job with this pistol. Customers wanted something with a bigger cartridge like the LCP, and they gave it to them in the LC9, and they did a great job with it. Another high quality firearm from Ruger. It's a great pistol. I would bet my life on it and not think twice. Only downsides to me, excessive safety features, and it's not the most comfortable thing to shoot for me. But I'll sacrifice that for, you know, it fulfilling its purpose. What I would use it for.
I'm just gonna look at this again because this thing looks sweet. There's a little Duracoat job on this. We'll talk about this some other time, but I just like looking at it anyway. All right. Anyway, so that's our review. Ruger LC9, good gun. Doomsday Bros out.
See you guys.
Cool beans. Let's go home.